Welcome to episode 10 of the Penny for Our Thoughts podcast. We made it, man. This is the podcast where you can get a third-party opinion on your worries, concerns, or problems that you may have in your life. Remember, don't keep it to yourself. Give some to us. My name is Gerald.
And my name is John, and we are your hosts for this 10th episode for Penny for Our Thoughts.
Wow. Double digits.
Yeah, double digits. I was going to
man.
say that too.
Yeah, man.
We made it, man.
We made it. That's
been
the
good.
10th intro we've done. So with that out of the way, let's jump right into it.
All right, straight into it, eh?
Straight in, man. Straight in.
How many concerns?
We got 4 today.
We got 4?
We got 4 lined up.
Nice. Let's get it.
Let's go. This first one was from Latika. And she says, me, 25 female, and my boyfriend, 29 male, have agreed to split our chores. After a year of living together, I'm reconsidering. The premise was basic. He cooks and I clean. It worked well in the beginning as I was cleaner, but he had more patience when cooking and could spend an hour or two making a delicious meal for us. It worked. We both work full-time from home, and it's still working okay. But I've noticed the way he is messy goes beyond a normal messy person. For example, he'll use up the last Kleenex and just leave the box somewhere in a corner. Not in the bin 3 meters away, but where he just last used it. Same goes for his used tissues. Or in a better example, he drinks at night when I go to bed, so sometimes I wake up and see 5 separate booze-smelling glasses he just left. If I drink 1 cup of coffee in the morning and leave the cup in the sink, he will go out of his way not to wash it, even if he's doing his own dishes. I cooked a few times for us, but I don't think he ever wiped down a counter or dusted or scrubbed the toilet. He does not have to ask me to cook. Sometimes I sense he's tired or that he would appreciate it, or I just feel like cooking that day. Conversely, a few times I'd go to bed being too tired to wash the dishes, then wake up at 3 a.m. to the smell of stale oil permeating in the air and see nothing was cleaned. It's not that he can't, it's just that his threshold for his own mess is so high. It's really not that bad, but we were thinking of having a kid in the near future. I don't want to end up cleaning after 2 kids just because cleaning wasn't in his job description when he moved in. I want to see if we can try splitting chores in a way that isn't so linear, but he's so messy, I'm not sure it's worth discussing.
Is not worth discussing?
Well, that's how she ended it. It's not worth discussing that to try to re-strategize their way of splitting up the chores.
Nah, I think you should. It's like, I personally, is just kind of going a little off topic, but I personally don't like doing the whole, like, you cook, I clean kind of thing. Like, why can't it be 50-50 all the time? Right? Like, obviously, you like to cook sometimes, like you said, every so often. Why don't you just cook? Right? And then if you did cook, then yeah, he should clean. And then there's gonna be times, like, I don't know why he's not doing a little bit of give and take. Right? And yes, his dirty threshold's probably much higher than yours, but he needs to realize he's not living alone anymore.
Yeah.
That's the big thing he needs to get. Like, he's a grown man, and like you said, you want to have kids with him eventually, so you're looking at the end goal. He needs to know that it's not just him living. And you need to tell him that. Like, just sit, like, literally just be like, yo, you're not the only one here. You need to clean up after yourself. You need to clean up after me sometimes because I clean after you, and so on and so forth.
On top of just straight up telling him, like, hey, can you help me more with chores? Can you clean more? Or at least, because it's different, right? It's different. I feel like cleaning up after yourself is different than chores when you're living with another person.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you can't just leave your dirty, wet towel and expect the other person to do it because, quote unquote, it's in their job description. Right? Like, I feel like there's a certain responsibility before it turns into a chore. You know what I mean? Because I guess, like, it's hard to argue now because she prefaced it by saying his dirty threshold is so high.
Yeah.
So that kind of like, it's like an innate, like, character, a part of his character at that point, right? And there's nothing against that. Like, if you're able to live in your own mess, whatever. If you're functional, then that doesn't matter, but you have a partner.
Yeah.
Right.
I think it's a little unfair, though. I do want to mention that, like, she's worried about that he would do that when you guys do have a kid, and now she's saying, like, to get 2 kids. I wouldn't make that assumption just yet, just because, just like when, women become moms, they change, like, their mental attitude. I mean, guys are the exact same thing, right? They're gonna definitely change their mental attitude, and maybe they'll clean up more, be more responsible around themselves, for themselves, and for his, now at that point, for his family.
Yeah.
right? I think you should give him the benefit of the doubt on that aspect, but he needs to figure out that again, he's not by himself.
Yeah. It's not a bachelor anymore.
Yeah, I never came across an issue. Like I'm a pretty like, especially with like a significant other, I'm a pretty clean dude. Like if she does the cleaning, if she does the cooking, I'll do the cleaning. And there's times where like I'll do the cooking and the cleaning. Right. And, it's not like any special occasion sometimes. I just do it just to like show my appreciation to my significant other. But this guy seems like he doesn't care, and he should, because he's not by himself anymore.
Playing devil's advocate here, maybe he doesn't realize that it's bothering her. Maybe he sees his mess as her mess is his mess. It's like, hey, we're just messy people. Like it's like kind of like blinders. They've been living together for a year, right? And this is now just becoming. I'm assuming that this is now just becoming vocalized by his partner, by the one that posted.
Yeah, and you make a good point. Like to give him the benefit of the doubt, then maybe he just doesn't know.
Right.
And then you gotta just talk to him about it. And now you were hesitant to even actually mention the fact that I'm too lazy or don't want to talk to him about it. Not lazy, I guess, but
here's a word for word. He's so messy, I'm not sure it's worth discussing. And the it in this case is a different strategy of splitting the chores.
Oh yeah, and your devil's advocate in this case works. He might not know, right?
Yeah.
It's been only a year.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe he's just like, I don't know, like I deal with your mess and I have my mess, so it's just okay, right? But then if you straight up tell him, say, this is not okay, I need you to do at least this level of a threshold of cleanness, right? Then maybe he'll understand. That's why when married couples are older and whatever, they bicker and somewhat argue about that whole aspect, even when they're in their later years of marriage, right? So doing it now isn't gonna, is gonna make it a little bit better, hopefully in the future, right? But you just don't want to do it because it's just, you might not think it's worth it. I think that's not a very good idea to go on.
Yeah, in this case, I don't think it even has to be a very serious discussion. Like it doesn't have to end up in hurt feelings or anything like that. It's just a discussion of like, hey, I feel like you're messier than I am. Like you don't even have to, like, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to be in a serious tone. It could be like as a roommate's agreement, even sort of thing. It doesn't have to be, as serious as hey, our relationship is in trouble because you're so messy. Like it doesn't have to go to that. Like it's not that kind of discussion, right? Like, hey, you left your Kleenex box there and it's still there. What's the deal with that? Like a joking, like
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah,
I'd be like, you see this? This is where the empty boxes go.
Exactly.
And you can play it off playful, but if he continues to do it, he's what? He's 29?
29.
He's 29 years old. He's almost hitting 30, right? Like he's old enough to understand that it's not him living alone in the house. He needs to respect the other person's opinions and respect their life choices and how cleanliness and how messy they are.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that guy has some things that bugs him that you do. And, maybe you'll have an actual nice, healthy conversation about what bugs him and what bugs you. And then at that point, you guys both work on it together.
Exactly.
And therefore, you guys move forward along as a couple. Right.
One thing that I've read about, or I think might have been like watch YouTube videos about or something, is what some couples do is that they do like semi-regular pulse checks. Like, hey, what's bugging you? Is there anything about me that I could, like it doesn't have to be a complete character change, right? If you have these regular discussions of like, hey, let's check where we're at in a relationship, I feel like this could be a part of that sort of discussion, and it could be pretty healthy. Like, and it doesn't even have to be a formal thing, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't. What you just said to me feels a little formal. Like you said, every so often they do it. It feels like a little bit more scheduled.
Right.
Of a sort. I wouldn't do that. Just if something comes up, right? Just be completely honest, right? Like we talked about how like communication is like the most important thing in any relationship, right? Just obviously exercise that, and then just be like, talk to the person and just be like, hey, this is bugging me. I need you to change. And I guarantee he's gonna say like something that bugs him.
Right. And I think that was the point I was trying to make. Like that's a good way to put it. Exercising it. Yeah. Just kind of loosening up that muscle, so it's not so awkward every time your partner does something that bugs you.
Just to me, it just felt a little weird to be scheduling it. But yeah, you pretty much said what I said.
It's not necessarily scheduling. Like it's a thing that couples will do often, maybe not like every Saturday or whatever, like, but they talk about what they're needing from the partner or anything like that, like I said, like a pulse check.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old is the girl?
25.
Oh, so she's 4 years younger. That's a good age gap, though.
Yeah.
little off. Like 4 years, I heard it's like one of the best age gaps.
It's my parents. It's me, my girlfriend.
There you go.
Yeah. So
I don't have anyone for age. That I know, other than you, obviously.
yeah.
But I heard it was good. And yeah, I mean, maybe you're a little timid now because you're a little bit young. Maybe I don't want to say lack of experience, but maybe once you get older, you'll realize. And once you live life, you'll realize just talking to them is never gonna hurt.
After some point, it's not gonna be like, I don't think it mentioned how long they've been going out, but they've been living together for a year. So I'm assuming more than a year, right? Significantly more than a year. Like after some point, it's kind of just like taking out the trash, is having this conversation, like after so many years of being with a partner. I feel like that should be one of the boxes you check, where this sort of conversation should just be like, yeah, no problem.
I'm surprised you went for, I mean, the whole cooking and cleaning probably, do you know how long that lasted for?
Like the split of the chores?
Yeah.
After a year of living together, I think a year.
So she sucked it up for a year?
Yeah. That's what it seems like.
I'm sure he's gonna feel bad. Like since you didn't bring it up earlier, and like now he found out that you've been living in like a stressful environment for a year, he might actually just feel bad.
Yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah. I think I would be like, oh my goodness, I feel like such a slob. I personally, I think that's how I would react. Yeah,
I'd be like, wow, why'd you tell me earlier? Like I could have totally fixed this.
Exactly.
Like I didn't know like this was bugging you. Like why? Like next time, let's like just tell me when you need it. And like, tell me if something bugs you, just let me know. Like,
exactly.
It's going to go in a more healthier way. As long as, again, it's brought up in a healthy manner. Don't like start yelling and screaming at him. Just be like, why is the tissue box here? Why is the dishes clean? Like, you're not his mom at this point. So
exactly.
I'm sure that if you tell him nicely, if he's a nice guy, you obviously been living with him for over a year or been with him for over a year, I'm sure he'll be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Yeah. That's like the most generic response they can say.
Yeah.
And it's going to take you guys into a more healthier relationship.
Yeah. Like you said, exercise communicating, even if it's a tiny little thing, because then it builds to a healthier, it builds to you guys knowing each other more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That wraps about that. Yeah.
I think so. It's a nice little button on that.
If you're just wondering, if you don't think it's worth talking about it, there's a good chance it's worth talking about it.
I mean, chances are you're going to want to spend your life with this person, right? Like, you think about having kids.
Yeah.
So, what's the harm in expressing? I don't know if this person feels like it's a small thing, but I feel like it's a smaller thing that you can just bring it up.
And
there's no harm.
I mean, if you thought it was a small thing, I'm sure. I don't think you mentioned her username.
Latica or Latica?
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah. She wouldn't have made this concern up.
That's true.
So
that's true.
I'm sure it was a bigger deal than. I'm sure it was okay, and it started to just keep stacking on a pile of things that bugged her.
And that's my sneaking suspicion here, is a small thing at first, and then over a year, be like, oh, it's going to be weird to bring it up now. Like if you forget your coworker's name and it's been like weeks and weeks and weeks, and you still like, hey, you don't ask them what their name is after like months. So I feel like that's like in that level of,
Yeah, I'm going through that right now. Don't worry about it. We'll go to the next
it's a story for another day. Okay, moving along. This one is from Safe Assign. Am I reading that right? Yeah, Safe Assign. My old classmate, male 21, wants me, male 22, to quote unquote put in a good word for him at my job. I recently graduated from university. I got a job about a month ago, and my old classmate wants in as well. I feel that it would be inappropriate for me to rock the boat in terms of suggesting people to hire, as I don't know how my boss would take that, as I've only been there for a month. And I just want to play it safe and leave no room for the devil. I'm not sure what that means. Also, giving certain people's contacts, I don't want it to bite me in the butt somehow in the future. I really just want to play it safe. Also, during uni, my classmate never helped me once. I was always helping him. When I wanted help, he made an excuse. Now he wants me to help some more out of university. Why should I help now? Also, He's only interested after he asked me my salary. Ooh. I gave him an approximate range, and now he had a million questions. How do I approach this?
Is how much I think you should think about how much you value the relationship
With a friend?
with a friend.
Yeah.
I'm one of those people that if I refer someone, I'm putting my neck on the line.
That's exactly what I was
Yeah.
thinking.
I referred what? Let's see, 3 people. Yeah, I think actually, just not even a handful, just 3 people in my lifetime. I referred them. They all got the job, and they all doing well in that job.
Mhm.
Right? I would never ever refer someone to a job that I think they're gonna, do dumb. And if I don't trust them to put my name on the line, I would never refer them. So that's the first question I think that this person needs to ask. Can this friend, is he smart or is he good enough as a person? Like, is he a nice enough person that that if anything goes wrong, is not going to really hinder you as a person in that job? That's the first thing. The second thing is now you just have to decide, like, are you going to be nice enough? Yeah, I think it's nice to do it. But again, it's all your choice, right? If you don't like the person and you're like, I don't like that person very much because of this and this and this, and that's like your personal beliefs, then yeah, you don't have to refer them, right?
Yeah, it hinges. I think you pretty much covered it, but it hinges on number one, how much. Okay, well, for example, even if I don't think a close friend of mine is a super good fit for the job, there's still a good chance of me recommending them if they really want it, right? If I can see that they want the job and I can see that they're going to work hard, even if they don't necessarily, show signs that they're already good at the job. And if they're my friend, I'm going to recommend them.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
So, right? Rather than a complete stranger who's super good at the job, right? It's kind of a favor you do as a friend in that way. Or number two, if he is really good at the job, then I would have a stronger urge to recommend them. But even in this case, I'm getting the vibe, like I don't have enough information to really get a gauge on how this person is or this friend is. But even if I was working a long time at the job already, I think I would still hesitate. Because it doesn't seem like, again, I don't have enough information, but the way he describes this person is like, oh, he didn't help me in school, and he's just like a freeloader sort of thing. That doesn't bode well for how he's going to do in the company in the future. Like, even if I got to know my boss well, like, because he mentioned a big factor is that he's only been here a month, right?
Yeah.
So I think very specifically for this friend, quote unquote, I would have a hard time trying to like take the referral seriously.
I wouldn't consider the month to be my big thing because when I was at my job, when I referred someone, I wasn't like in my job for a very long time, like a couple months even, right? So I don't think the length of time you work there, but then like because I trusted this guy, right? And him and I still work together because I trusted this guy and I know who he is, like as a person, he's a great guy. Like I literally like went over and beyond. I messaged the HR. I don't do that. Normally, you don't do that. Normally, the referral process of my job is just this form you fill online, right? And say, how do you know the person? Like, do you think this person will be good for the job? And like, tell me a time, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I did that. And then for some reason, like, I think the HR rep, which is a little bit slower on that end. And I actually like physically emailed that HR rep that he dealt with because I figured out the name through him, obviously. And I'm like, hey, like, this is a good candidate. I don't know what's going on in the application process, but like, I think he's a good candidate. And then the HR rep got back to me and said, hey, thanks for that. Like nobody does that. Thank you for letting us know. And eventually he got hired.
Yeah.
So it's whether you work there for a month, a week, 2 days, whatever. It's the big thing is like, do you want to do this guy a favor? Right? Because all it is a favor. And, I forgot to mention and bring it up because you said that he got all excited because of the salary. Right. So is he just doing it for the job or is he just actually going to enjoy? Is he doing it for the money or is he doing it because he actually likes the job and wants to do it for the rest of his life or whatever? That's another question I think you need to answer. If it's just for the money, I would say no.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
He's going to leave.
He's not going to value the job and it'll end up you looking bad in your boss's eyes.
Yeah.
Right. And then maybe I could see the only being there a month come into play. Like, oh, this guy's only been here a month. He has the balls to refer a guy that's not even good at his job or doesn't even like his job.
Yeah.
Right. That I could see where the month thing could come into play. But if you truly believe in this guy, I think that's what the referral like boils down to, right? If you believe in the person you're referring, then yes, then you just do it, right? Whether it's because you trust him as a friend or you trust that his skill, is good for the job.
And like the concern's last comment mentioned that like, how do I overcome this? I think is what he said. Because
how would I approach this?
Dude, tell him honestly, dude. Just be like, hey, by the looks of it, I don't know if you guys aren't close friends. It seems like you guys are more acquaintances and have like a couple of classes here and there together. Just be like, hey man, I don't know you well enough to refer you.
That's fair.
And that's what I did too. I mean, like, there's a lot of people that ask me for referrals, right? But I gave them only to 3 people, right? And the last guy, and I should be 100% honest, I did say, hey, I know this person, right? But I directly said in that online form I filled, it's like, I don't know how he's going to do in the job that he's applying for. I've never seen him in that like area. I've never spent that much time with him in that area. I know him as a person. He's a good person.
Yeah. But
I wrote it in there like straight up and said, I don't know his skill in this thing. I don't know. I don't know if he's good. I don't know if he's bad. Like, don't trust me on it. I can't tell you on that. And, he still got the job and whatever because I referred him as a person.
Right.
But if you don't, but the way it's going, it doesn't seem like you actually trust this guy. You believe this guy's going to do well. So if that's it. Just trust your gut. Just tell him straight up, hey, I don't know you well enough to refer you.
Yeah. I definitely sense, like you said, some hesitation there. And I think you touched on a good way, an elegant way to handle it is if, hey, send in an application. I'll let them know. If they have any questions I can answer, I'll let them know. That sort of way to tell your boss or tell your friend that if they're actually interested, send in an application. And if it comes up, or would that be like? No,
I think that's good. It's just that now, if it does come up, that means that you did put your name on his application. Because how would they know that you guys know each other? So it could work.
Well, it'd be similar to how you handle it, right? Like if he has to answer, if Safe Assign has to answer questions about his colleague's application, he would, I assume, answer honestly. Like and then like, how did he do in school? He would mention all this, obviously, hopefully not in like a bad light or whatever.
Yeah,
and just like in an objective, this is how he was in school because that's how he knows him, right?
Yeah, and just be truthful as possible to your friend and be truthful as possible to your employers, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Even you calling him your friend seems a little stretch, even to what I'm his concern.
Actually, I was going to touch on that. I don't think it's. Oh, it says right here. There's a summary at the end. It says, my old classmate wants me to help him get hired where I work. He was not a good friend during uni. So he straight up says,
a friend.
he was not a good friend, and I'm still new. I don't want to cause any problems at work.
Then don't. Just
it's not worth putting your neck out on the line,
Like, and if let's say he does put your name on his application, and your employer will go to you and just be like, yeah, I know of him. He was my classmate, and then just truthfully tell him, I don't really know him.
Yeah.
Right.
He wasn't close.
Yeah. We had class together. That's pretty much like the extent of our relationship. I know what you mean to say.
I think it's a matter of like, I've been there where it's in a situation where it's hard for you to say no because you feel bad. I feel like that's a similar sort of situation. But then in this case, you can treat it as a purely professional, like career driven situation, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be personal.
I think it would have been harder if his skill, like if he was your good friend, but then his skill was just terrible.
Yeah.
And then he asked for a referral. Then I could see like the difficulty of yes and no. But in this case, he's not your good friend. You have no idea what his skill level is. And you don't know how he's going to do the job.
Mm-hmm.
He was just your classmate. Right. Then say, you could tell your friend that like, yeah, hand the application in. If they, like you said, they have a question for me, I'll answer it. If they don't, they don't. Right. But I wouldn't go out of your way like I did with my friends, had an email or like talk to the HR rep or the hiring rep and be like, hey, you should hire this guy. Mm-hmm. Don't do that. Right. Because it doesn't seem like you need to.
It doesn't feel like he would be a good fit in the company that you're already working in.
Yeah. So
for a month.
I think that covers that.
Yeah.
If people are doing that, I don't know, like if he's not your friend, I would just ignore it. I'd just laugh it off and just not do anything. That's what I would do if it was someone like that, like my classmate, I'd be like, oh yeah, okay. And I'll just laugh it off.
Because it's your colleague, right? It's like the guy who asks you about your home. There's so many of those at Nate that like, how'd you do on the test? Oh, what's the answer to this one? I'm like, gotta go eat lunch. See you later.
And if it was a good friend, then you'd be like, oh, I did this. And you explain it, whatever, right? But if you're getting that feeling of like, I don't want to deal with this, not a good friend. So just let it be. Let him worry about his own life. You got your life. Congrats on the job.
Exactly.
And then I'm happy. No, congrats on the good job. And according to you and other people hearing about your salary, it must be good. So congratulations on that. You did good work.
Just be happy for yourself.
Yeah, don't let that guy bring you down.
Yeah,
don't worry about it.
Seems pretty like he's putting a lot of weight on this decision. It's like it doesn't have to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, that's it for safe assign. And this next one's super long. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the title and then read the summary. And then if there's any details I need to fill in, I'll fill it in.
Of course.
This next one is from Big Ballsack 4. I am a big YouTuber. I hate what I do, but there's no way out. I get a ton of criticism for making repetitive content on my channel about the same video game being bad. But every time I try something new, it performs terribly. I don't have a degree or a means of finding a similar paying job, and I have bills to pay, such as rent, car payment, etc. So I feel like I'm being forced to continue making these same videos over and over, which I hate doing. Despite their success, a lot of my viewers and people who come across my channel also find them annoying and repetitive. I'm 22 and don't know what to do. Living with my family is not an option. I just want out, but I see no way out. And for context, his channel nets him around $60,000 a month, a year.
I was like, a month? Oh my God.
A year,
do I know this guy?
A year.
Your YouTube channel, okay. You talk about a game and you talk about how bad it is. Are we talking about WoW or?
Shots fired.
No, I'm just kidding. It's just like there's a whole issue with Blizzard, but that's off topic.
That's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, a whole other story that we could get into. If it's weird, I think it's for me, and you might not need to clarify this. The 2 and 2 don't add up. What I'm kind of confused is like, you hate making this content, but you make it up. Your viewers and your subscribers or whatever are saying it's very repetitive and it's not as fun. So how are you getting these views is my question to you. Like, without that, like it doesn't equal whatever you just equal. It doesn't equal $60,000 a year. Like, it just doesn't happen. If you have to make good quality content, you have to consistently make good quality content for you to make good money off, social media and so on and so forth. But you're just telling me that you're making very boring or you don't like making the content. So obviously your content might show that, like your face or the way you're, talking about it. And then your viewers comment and whatever saying, hey, your stuff is very repetitive and it's getting boring. So how are you netting $60,000 a year?
That's a mystery to me too, because it's all of his videos focus on how it's a franchise. The video game franchise is, going downhill.
Is it COD?
He doesn't say what it is.
Okay.
I'm actually very curious. I looked through and tried to dig some more, but he didn't mention
what game franchise.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what he says. Every video that he makes about the fall of this franchise gets him a lot of views, and apparently the comments indicate that it's very controversial. Like, people don't like watching it because it's repetitive, but it gets views. And then every time he strays away from that formula, people like his regular viewers are like, hey, this is more like it. It's not repetitive. It's different. But then in the big scheme of things, it doesn't get that many views. So something about him ranting about the fall of a video game is getting him a lot of views.
Now, this is where I'm a little confused again, is that he tried to branch out and make other videos, but it doesn't get a lot of views.
Yeah.
But why did he stop those? You made those videos because I'm assuming you thought it was important and you were interested in that topic. So you actually was invested emotionally about that topic you're talking about. So why didn't you continue making videos like that, whether or not the views were there? And yes, you need to pay bills, but then why can't you do those videos that you actually like doing on top of the controversial videos that you don't like doing at all?
I feel like that's a good question. I don't know if he's like, I don't see any indication that he didn't try to do that.
Because don't get me wrong, for 60 grand a year, I would make some videos I don't really like to make.
Yeah, honestly, if that's all you need to do.
And you want to get out of that, and that's fine. I think if you don't enjoy it, I think you should move on, and that's a good plan. But the other videos that you said you made, they don't do well, is what you're saying. And you're saying you stopped, from what I'm getting, the vibe I'm getting is you stopped doing it because they don't do well. So you're giving up your passion for money. Yeah. So if you are stuck in that cycle, that is your decision. You literally made that choice of saying, you know what, I don't get views, I don't get paid for these videos, so I'm going to go back to what I hate. Well, dude, I'm not going to give you any advice. You decided that. What the hell do you want me to do?
Well, that's the thing, right? What can he do? What are his options?
Exactly what I said. If you obviously like the YouTube idea, right? And using social media. Make another account if you want to, or make other videos that you're actually passionate about, and continue doing the videos that you're passionate about. Yes, you'll still have to do those videos that you hate doing and the viewers think it's repetitive.
To make money.
To make money. But eventually your passion will show through to the viewers of those topics that you actually decided you really like talking about. Right? It's just when he wrote and I could be wrong, and I'm assuming you're kind of like skimming through the whole thing. When he said it doesn't do very well with views and stuff, okay, well, dude, nothing is gonna grow overnight. Like, you have to put some time and effort into it. And just because it fails once, right? You just give up. Then I'm gonna 100% say that what was his name? What was his Big Balls 4?
Big Ball Sack 4.
Like, you made that decision that you're hating right now. You're continuing that cycle, 100%.
The thing is, he can't find a way of exiting the cycle. And I think he mentioned here, I found the paragraph. I agree with most of the criticism of the videos he usually makes, but I cannot take their advice. When I make different content, the people who criticize me don't watch the new content. And they say, see, this is something we wanted, something fresh. It's just silence, barely any views, and YouTube punishing me by throwing analytics in my face that say, no one wants to watch this video. Try replicating the success you found in your more popular videos next time. So he's getting discouraged by the fact that these videos don't do well. And I think another note is that he quit his job to do this. I'll read you the intro paragraph. I built a YouTube channel with over 100,000 subscribers and over 20 million total views, all within the last 2 years. Currently 22 years old, and when my channel started taking off 2 years ago, I dropped out of college, moved into my own apartment, and quit my dumb $10 an hour part-time job.
Good for you.
So it's it's hard to sympathize with him, because he made a bunch of choices, like you said, to get himself in the spot where he is, right? And to get out of it, there's going to have to be some sacrifices made, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're either going to have to hate doing the thing that's making you 60 grand a year, or continue making things that are fun and waiting for that to grow, or like gambling. I mean, this whole YouTube thing is a gamble, right?
Yeah.
Gambling, like, you just got really lucky you found a stable gig out of it, or use the money that you like, keep grinding at the videos you hate, and save up that money to go back to school, to finish your degree or whatever you were working on, to get a job that he says he can't get now. He can't get a job now because he's lack of experience, lack of credentials. But I feel like there's plenty of ways around this that just involve sacrifice. Right.
And he's just not making those sacrifices.
I mean, he's pretty young too. He's 22, right? Yeah,
and I said good for you just before you started, and it's good for him. Like, really, like, at a young age, you found success on the internet, and that's not easy to do. So I just want to say, good job on that. Like, you succeeded in that front.
Yeah.
But like you said, he's not making sacrifices at this point to do what he wants to do if he wants to stay in the YouTube field.
Mm-hmm.
And if he decides to do that and he hates it, you are literally making the decision of you're doing whatever you don't like, right? I'm not going to be here and just be like, don't do that because you're going to do it anyway, right? You are literally making the conscious decision to do whatever you hate because of those numbers.
Yep.
So you're letting these small numbers, the YouTube analytics and whatever, dominate what you do in your choices.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Like, if you want to let that decide your life, by me, I'm not gonna get mad at you and whatever, but just don't complain about it. You're literally letting it happen.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what are you complaining about? There's thousands of people, like probably hundreds of thousands of people that want to be in your position.
This is true.
Whether or not you're making content you don't even like, they would make 60 grand and make content they don't like anyway.
As opposed to a normal 9 to 5, right?
Yeah. But you have succeeded in this field, and I would like to congratulate on that. And if you don't like it, you can always make sacrifices to get out of it, but you're just not doing it because, like you said, makes you feel bad of the YouTube analytics.
Yeah. And if you made this decision that you want to get out of this loop, at some point, those analytics are going to mean nothing to you, right? At some point, what I would try to do anyway, the ideal situation would be screw the analytics. If it's making me money, I'm going to keep making the money and put that money towards something that'll get me out of this loop.
Yeah.
Right? Like school or whatever, whatever you need to do to get out of it. I don't know what he wants to do, I guess, other than make the other videos. And depending on what he wants to do, it's going to be a different type of sacrifice, right? Because if he wants to make those the other videos that are more interesting for him, it'll be, I think, a sacrifice in time because he's going to have to make that grow. Like he's going to have to find a way to get picked up by the algorithm by not making his, quote unquote, viral videos.
I don't think he should stop making those viral videos though. It's making him money. It sucks. It's like that same concern that we had a couple of episodes ago, maybe the last episode, where he's like, what can I do for my side job?
Yeah.
Right, that side hustle. It's the exact same idea. You just have to sacrifice. But since you're a full-time YouTuber, I'm not going to come out and state that you have time in your life. You probably don't. You have to do edit and stuff like that. But if you want to get out of that grind, then you got to make those sacrifices.
Yeah. I think I just got to tighten the belt a little bit if you're not going to make the 60 grand that you usually do. But I mean,
still make the money. Still make those videos. Like what I'm getting is he doesn't hate making videos. Like from the vibe I'm getting, he doesn't want to leave YouTube. He just wants to make other content. But he's just afraid that because YouTube analytics isn't giving him all the right numbers or whatever, he's just getting discouraged.
But then that's the thing though, like he's not going to make 60 grand if he strays away from his formula, right? So that's what I'm getting at, is that if he pursues the other, more interesting videos, he's going to get less money because he gets less views. Unless he can double down and for some reason make, the videos that are popular and the ones that he's, passionate about.
That's what I'm saying.
If he can just double down and just, not sleep, then go for it. I don't think it's healthy unless he finds a way to do it healthier. Then I can vouch for that. But for me, it's like, screw it. I'm not going to be the vibe. I feel like an option here is to not be a YouTuber anymore because he brought up school, right? Get that money, save up for tuition, and then finish the degree that you can use to get a job.
Yeah, that works too. You and I both edit and different things, and we edit videos and sometimes just audio.
Yeah.
Like I used to daily vlog, right? So it's I put a video out every day for a month and a half.
Forgot about that.
Right? So if you're coming to me, and I don't know how much this guy uploads a week, right? If he uploads every week or every twice days, average is what? Once a week like we do now for Penny for Our Thoughts or whatever?
I'm not sure.
There's 100% time to make other videos. It's just the vibe I'm getting. But I'm not going to speak about his schedule. He probably has his own personal things he has to go through.
Yeah.
But I've done it. I edited a video every single day for a month and a half and released one every single day. So if you come to me and say, I don't have any time to make, more than the videos I don't like and a video that he does like once every week, I'm going to be like, dude, I made 7 videos in 1 week. What are you doing? Right? You can't, it's like that idea is like, I'm busier than you. So you can't come to me and say I'm busy, right?
You're the wrong person to vent to at this point.
Yeah. And that's kind of why I'm thinking a big hard stance on this. Is like, you're literally making a decision for yourself to live life. And it boils down to, are you going to let numbers decide your happiness?
It has more weight to certain people than you might expect.
And
because ultimately those numbers represent what people think of you, right? And to some people that's very it hits your self-esteem, it hits self-worth, especially because this is everything he does, his full-time job, and it all hinges on how many people enjoy his content, how many people watch his content, right? So I could see how that would affect him personally. But that's why my suggestion of just changing the way you're thinking about it. Just at this point, if you're open to switch gears completely, just think of it as a job that you hate that gets you money. If you get money, that opens up doors for university, for, whatever you need to do, right? So I think you got two pretty good options here. If you want to stay a YouTuber, do what you said.
Yeah.
Right?
If
If you don't want to stay a YouTuber, keep doing the stuff that you hate, but keep raking in the cash. And then, just screw up. Just go to university.
Yeah, no, I like your method too. Like, it makes sense. But if we're like talking about the whole that, I think he needs to just honestly at this point suck it up because he's deciding. I 100% understand that the numbers make an impact on the person, right?
Yeah.
I check the numbers of this podcast, right? I do. I check it every so often when I upload new episodes and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, cool. We got a listener from Australia. We got a listener from Germany.
Yeah.
And I tell you that. Like, that boosts my self-esteem a bit. Like, I understand that. But there's things when I realize it's unhealthy. And I think, again, for him, it might be unhealthy. That's why I don't really have a huge social media presence. I haven't been on Instagram. Like, I haven't had my own Instagram account for like, what, 3-4 years now?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Because when I had it, I was like just asking for those likes, asking for those follows, right? And I was just like, this is so unhealthy to me, right? And I just cut it out. So that's the method you're doing, where just cut numbers out eventually, once you can, or suck it up and just do it. I mean, we don't have a huge, wide audience for this podcast, but I still love the little things about it, right? I mean, I love this podcast, I guess, versus him. He hates making those videos. So I guess that's the big difference.
And the difference is as well as that's his full-time income.
Yeah.
Right. So it has a bit more weight in what he does in his life. But I think those are two pretty good options there that, that you can start working towards, right?
Yeah.
Ultimately, in the short term, there's going to be sacrifices that need to be made. Whether that be your sanity of keeping going or like just, giving up the entire YouTube thing altogether. Or Yeah, and if you decided to not make those sacrifices, don't complain. You made that decision. That's true. I'm very like, if Gerald had known me for years, like I'm the guy's like, once you made that decision, don't come complain to other people about the decisions you made, because I'm not going to say anything about it. Yeah, and that's tough. That's just tough love at that point. Yeah. You're 22, pretty young. So I think you got time to make your decision here. Yeah, I'm sure. There's your two big opinions that are kind of opposite of each other, but it worked out. It works. Like I don't think I would be unhappy if those options were laid in front of me and I was in this situation. I'd be like, okay, those are pretty good options. Yeah. Right. Like I wouldn't be unhappy either way, as long as there's success at the end of each road. Watch this guy just not choose either or, just be like, oh my gosh, I hate it. Yeah. No, he just keeps going in this endless cycle. Okay, I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure that's not gonna happen. Yeah. But if it does, dude, you really need to just figure out your life, because I'm gonna be like, dude, I'm not gonna listen to your complaints anymore. At this point, it's just gonna be a white noise. It's not concerns anymore. At this point, it's literally just complaining. It's venting. Yeah. No. Venting is not like. I think venting and complaining are a little bit different. Venting is like it happens a one-time thing, right? It's not a continuous thing. Happens once. Like let's say, for example, someone cuts you off while you're driving. That's and then you tell someone that's venting, right? Okay. But then if it's the same thing, like if it's like. You can change it, but you don't change it. Okay. And then you keep saying the exact same. I think that's complaining, and that I think is just useless. Yeah. Right. Venting is useful as it really opens up and makes you feel much better. Complaining, the listeners just hate listening to that. I'm not gonna listen to that. Yeah. Right? If you put it that way, yeah, I've definitely come across that where it's just like, okay, yes, okay, I get it. You're unhappy. Okay, Right. Like the one big thing that I know is complaining is like when people come to me and say, oh man, like, I wish I had like a nicer body. Like I wish I was skinny. I wish I didn't have more fat. And then I ask you, like, oh, do you go to the gym, or like, do you watch what you eat? No. Okay. Well then stop complaining. Yeah. Like you can't get one without the other. You know what to do. Just do it. Yeah. And you're just saying you're just complaining about that, dude. I don't want to listen to you anymore. At that point, I'm like, dude, just get out of here. I don't want to listen to you. But then it's a different issue where like, again, the gym the metaphor is like, oh man, I want to squat today, but the squat rack was all broken and crap. That's venting. I think that's okay. Venting, that's not your fault, right? Just don't complain about stupid things. I went on a rant. I feel like I struck a nerve there. But, yeah, like if you complain and you have every decision to change that complaint, and you keep saying it, I am not gonna listen to you. I'm literally just gonna straight up tell you, just be like, dude, get over yourself. Get over it.
Yeah.
You have all the power to change that.
All right. That was the second one or the third one?
That was the third one.
Okay.
So we got one more here. Oh, man. This one is by Throwaway and then a bunch of numbers and letters. Family member gave me cocaine for my 18th birthday. Hello. My uncle gave me a chunk of fish scale, I think that's slang for something, high purity cocaine for my 18th birthday. Issue is, my mother suspected he would give me something because he's had issues with drugs in the past. I've done a few hard drugs in the past recreationally, so the actual use of it isn't a concern, as long as it's tested. But I would feel weird about the fact that it came from him and I didn't actively seek it out. The thing is that my mother's suspicion turned out to be true, and now I'm torn between telling her and potentially fracturing mine and her relationship with him, my uncle, or disposing of it and not saying anything, but feeling guilty I wasn't honest with her about it. Not that she's even asked yet.
Is your uncle trying to change? And like, is that what your uncle told your mom? That's the first question I would ask.
I think the uncle like gave it to him behind her back. So he throw away 16, 15A, whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, throw away.
Throw away.
Yeah.
He's torn. I think he's torn between telling her and outing his uncle and just sweeping it under the rug, and not jeopardizing his mom's and her brother's relationship.
If I was in that situation, I'd sleep on the rug.
Yeah.
I guess it all depends on like what that relationship is like between my mom and I guess my mom's brother.
Yeah.
Right, my uncle.
Yeah.
Right. If my mom's been trying for years and years and years and years and trying to convince my uncle to stop, and then like my uncle tells my mom and say, "Hey, I'm gonna try to stop. I'm going to rehab," but it just keeps coming back and back. If that's the case, then I would tell. But if it's like, yeah, my mom knows about it, but my uncle doesn't have a problem with it, like he does it recreation just like you did, or you do, I guess, then I'd be like, whatever. It's a birthday gift. Just let it slide. Like, as long as the relationship, I think the biggest important factor is the relationship between my mom and her brother. And my uncle. So what is that relationship like? And then once I realize that, I would take the appropriate actions.
I feel like depending how close this guy is with his uncle, let's go back to his uncle and be like, what are you doing? This is cocaine, Like, mom, I would be open even to be like, my mom has expressed concerns. It's going to make you look real bad, dude. I would just give this back. It's a lot of money. Right? I feel like that's an option.
Yeah.
Where number one, your uncle won't get in trouble with your mom. The family stays, together. And you don't, I guess you don't have cocaine. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah.
But then this way, your uncle he's going to get the idea that, you're loyal to the family as well. And you might, I don't know, depending again, how your relationship is with your uncle, you can score your points with him by not throwing him under the bus. Like if that's something that you value, like there's not a lot of information.
But then the only issue with this concern is not a lot of information, because what if your uncle gave it to you, right? He had it, but then you give it back and he does, and let's say his mom told your uncle that like, you need to stop, blah, 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 but then you gave him this cocaine. He's not going to sell it again. He's just going to use it himself. So what if the uncle uses it himself at that point? Right? It
sounds to me like the uncle has been using it anyway this whole time, because the mom already feels, a bit hesitant on her own brother. So there has to be a reason for that. I mean, in my, obviously this it's not written in the message here, but in my head, it's like this uncle's kind of a druggie, but he's still, with the family. So I feel like the mom already has the idea that yes, he's a user, he's a drug user, and if he has the cocaine, like I don't, it might not be a change from the norm. Like he might have cocaine either way. It just happened to, I have extra. Here's your happy birthday.
See, it's so hard to understand what I would do in this situation because I don't have the whole situation.
Yeah, there's not a lot of information, but just based on what we have, that's the vibe I'm getting here.
Yeah, I mean, there's two options, and I just don't know, like, if this is this, I would go that option. If it's that is that, I'll go that option kind of thing, right? I can't, unless I know everything, I can't.
I still think, depending on how he views his uncle, like if it's an estranged uncle that like you didn't know your entire life and then suddenly comes to your 18th birthday, he's to have some drugs.
Then I would tell my mom.
Then I'd be like, Mom, who's this guy?
Yeah, but I don't think that's the case.
He just gave me a bunch of cocaine. We can, number one, sell it or give it back.
Well, no, don't sell it, because now once you get caught in the middle of selling it, and you could go to jail for years at a time, right?
Yeah.
Don't try to sell it. I think that's the dumbest idea. You do it recreationally, so I guess so technically there's 3 options. You could either tell your mom, use it yourself because you recreationally use it, or just sweep it under the rug. Well, I guess, or just keep it and just don't tell anybody and don't use it. I guess it's kind of the same thing as
you could just give it back.
Or you can give it back, but then
your hands are clean at that point, right? Again, it depends on how the uncle is related to the family in this case. Like how close is he to the family?
Yeah, but I can see the mom resenting the son because of that, giving it back.
If she found out. Yeah.
So
I could see that as well.
Yeah, so it's more, should I tell my mom? Should I not tell my mom?
But then if it saves, I think personally, if it saves, the whole family dynamic, I'd be like, this is not cool. Like, make it clear to the uncle. Don't be like, no, I can't have this. You take it. Make it very clear to the uncle. Be like, this is not acceptable. We're not going to talk to this again. Take it back.
But then if he's a pretty hard user, aren't you just enabling that?
Well, if he has that in the first place, he's going to have more, right?
Yeah.
He's going to have it at home sitting on his nightstand or whatever. He just happens to have more now if I give it back to him. Right? And I guess, yes, you could see that as an enabling. And I can't exactly say no harm, no foul.
Yeah.
But like at this point, you have a crap ton of illegal drugs, some like really high purity ones, apparently. What are you going to do with it, right? Like someone has to have it. Either you have it or your uncle has it.
Yeah, you know what? Now just hearing that, I think I would just do exactly what you said. Just give it back.
Like put it back where you found it, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not,
because at that point, it's not your responsibility, right? If he decides to do it, and you might be enabling him, but he's a grown man. If he decides to do it, that's his choice.
I feel like that shouldn't be your responsibility at that point.
Yeah. But it will become a bigger issue if you have it in possession.
Exactly.
And then you get caught with it. Right?
And it sounds a bit selfish, but I think that's the best option he has.
Yeah. If you really want to choose it and because you recreationally do it, then I guess all right to you, just do it.
You won't tell anyone?
Because whether you give it back to your uncle or whether you use it recreationally, use it yourself, you're not telling your mom.
Exactly.
So either of those options, because you did mention use it recreationally, I'm against to use illegal drugs 100%.
Yeah.
But I mean, even as we speak right now, there's probably people doing drugs. I can't change the world just by, saying don't do it.
Don't do it on a podcast.
Yeah. So I think either of those options would work. I'm more for the former, saying give it back. Don't let it be your responsibility. Don't harm your body. Right. I mean, I'm sure cocaine's pretty addictive. I don't use it recreationally, but those kind of drugs using recreationally is not something that I would ever endorse or say
or recommend.
Recommend. So
no, I've heard plenty. I've heard plenty enough about cocaine to know that I don't want to touch it either. So
I just know one time.
Yeah.
Too.
I know exactly.
I mean, we're still friends. Like he did it that one time. And I honestly, I still remember that moment, like back, like yesterday. It's pretty funny, actually.
When he told you about it?
Yeah. Like comes down, he's like, "Yo, he's like, I did it," and I was like, "Did what?" And he tells me, and he's like, "I can't feel the roof of my mouth."
Oh my God.
And I was like,
"And you enjoyed it?" Like,
I don't know, but I know for sure he's not ever doing it again.
Okay.
Right. So I know that for sure is never happening. So I'm just not worried about it anymore. But at the time, I was like, "Dude, what are you doing?" But again, I told him don't do it, but he still did it. He's not going to listen to me because I said don't do it.
Yeah. And I think at this point, it depends on what you value more. Do you value, your solidarity to your mother, like that trust with your mom, be like, "Hey, I'm on your side, no drugs. Uncle is bad," or do you just kind of, try not to rock the boat and try to just sweep it under the rug?
Yeah. Best is give it back. Then this way,
don't have it on you.
It's not your responsibility. If he does it, it's his choice. Your mom knows about that. Yeah, you might, eventually your mom will find out that you got it as a gift and then you give it back. But
depending on how the mom is, she could be proud of him too. Like, proud of you for not taking it.
yeah, it could go both ways.
It can go either way. Or yeah, like you said, she could be like, why didn't you tell me? Yeah, it could definitely turn bad too. It's playing in my head.
Yeah, that's why it's so hard without like the more information to like, this is what I would do. But I think if your mom is pretty rational and you tell your mom saying, hey, I give it back. I just didn't want to ruin the relationship between you and my uncle. So I just didn't mention it to you. But mom, I just want to let you know that I didn't take it. I didn't do it. I think your mom will respect that decision. She might get upset at you for the starting saying, why don't you tell me right off the bat? But eventually you do the right thing. And I'm sure she'll realize that.
End of the day, you didn't take the drugs. And that's what all moms want for their kids, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, yeah.
Yeah.
Because realistically, your mom's going to know that you as a son isn't responsible for the relationship between her and her brother.
She has to know that.
She has to know that. Right?
She has to.
And she'll know that her son is not responsible for the choices that her brother makes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If she's rational.
I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
But whether or not she'll be rational when she first tells him, or he first tells her, was a different question altogether.
I just hope he doesn't find out. That's kind of doesn't find out. It's a big thing, yeah. That concludes. That's
number 4.
Dang. That concludes episode 10.
Double digits.
For Penny for Our Thoughts. I got pretty excited. I was pretty excited for this podcast, especially the third one.
Yeah.
That's good. So let's go do a quick review. First one was
we split the chores.
Yeah. I think if he's that nice of a guy, I think that he will feel bad for letting you go through that for the whole year and he will change.
It's hard to say because I don't actually know the guy, but I agree with you there. Number 2 was my old classmate wants me to put in a good word for him. End of the day, if you trust the guy, if you think he'll do a good job, if he's actually your friend, put in the recommendation. But from what we read, there's a lot of hesitation there. It doesn't sound like you actually want to put in the recommendation. So, leave it alone.
The third one
was the YouTuber.
And you have 2 clear choices on either end. If you want to stay on YouTube or do something completely different, pick or. If you decide not to pick or, don't complain.
Exactly. It's, but either way, short term, there's going to have to be some sacrifices.
Yeah.
Last one. I got cocaine for my 18th birthday.
Yeah, just give it back.
End of the day, don't take drugs.
Yeah.
Don't do drugs, kids.
Don't do drugs, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that concludes episode 10 of Penny for Thought Double Digits. If you have your own concerns, problems, or worries that you would like a third-party opinion on, please don't keep it to yourself. Give us an email at givesometous@gmail.com. Again, it's just givesometous@gmail.com. We would like to sincerely thank you from the bottom of our hearts for sticking with us for 10 episodes and more episodes. Obviously, we're going to keep going.
Yep.
I love this.
The future.
Yeah, this is probably one of the funner things I do once a week. So,
yeah, something to look forward to.
Yeah. But again, thank you very much for tuning in. I hope to see all your beautiful faces again next week.
Thanks for listening, everybody. And remember, stay kind to each other.